big believer in living frugally and saving money now to make things easier in the future. For a lot of years of our marriage, we've been living as students and thus living frugally out of necessity. So if you're looking for some new ways to be more frugal or save some money, stay tuned for the rest of today's video because I'm sharing 10 different things that we don't buy or pay for. And for each item I share, I'm also going to share an alternative way that we either get the item or the service or fulfill the need. The first item on my list is books, and I'm starting in the kitchen because I want to talk about cookbooks. How often do you actually go into your cupboard and pull out a cookbook? I don't do it very often. However, I do refer quite frequently to my recipe box. I've had this since I was in university, and it has all the recipes I use the most inside, and I can easily add to it whenever I find another gem. You can use a Pinterest board if you'd rather not use paper, or have a binder that you keep in your kitchen with your favorite recipes that your family loves. And for books that you read, use the library. It's free. You can go online or on their app and get free ebooks and audiobooks. And if you really want a hard copy book because you like to make notes in the margins or highlight, you can use a book outlet. If you don't have one nearby in person, you can go online. I found a website for Canada called bookoutlet.ca. I recently ordered a bunch of books from there that I'm using to study them, and the books were a fraction of the cost that they would be at a regular bookstore. I actually have a coupon code for you. It's going to be in the description for $5 off of your first purchase of $25 or more. Next up are hair and nail services. These can really add up if you get them done professionally every time. But if you're willing to invest in a little pair of hair scissors and you feel like you can handle trimming your hair, your kid's hair, or your husband's hair if you're that brave, then you can save a lot of money on haircuts. I feel like I should add a little note here that we do get haircuts at hair salons sometimes. It's just that my hair is straight and I don't have a complicated haircut. So sometimes I'll take my hair scissors to my mom's house, or when my mom's over, she'll give me a hair trim. That way I don't have to pay for it. Also, I haven't had my hair colored in almost 20 years, and that saves a ton of money. And it's a lot less expensive to invest in some high quality nail polish to use at home rather than paying for a salon every time you get your nails done. And it's a lot easier to do touch-ups when you have the nail polish at home too. It's winter right now, and clearly we're not too concerned about how clean our car looks, but when the time does come to get the car cleaned, we can save a lot of money by not paying for a car wash and doing it ourselves. And I don't think we've ever paid to have our car detailed. We just do it ourselves. And if we really don't want to do it ourselves and we want to pay someone else to do it, we'll pay our kids to do it. They're not professionals and we don't pay them like professionals, but they're happy to make a little bit of extra money for an extra chore. Something we've always spent as little as possible on is our cell phones. Whenever possible, we've used hand-me-down phones. And if that's not an option for you, you could try buying cell phones secondhand. Or something that worked really well for us recently was buying an open box. We went into the cell phone store, we picked out the phone we wanted to buy, we asked about it, and they happened to have an open box that somebody had just purchased, left the store for a couple of hours, and come back and returned it. So we got basically a brand new phone for much cheaper. Another tip is to always use old phones. Don't get fooled and sucked into buying the latest and greatest cell phone every single time. You can use several generations back and still have a great phone. And finally, shop your cell phone plan. Find the cheapest plan that can work for you and maybe make a couple of sacrifices because you're going to save a lot of money month after month if you get a cheaper plan. Next up is makeup and skincare. Yes, I buy makeup. Yes, I use skincare. But I found I really don't need a huge variety of makeup. In the end, I end up using the same products over and over anyway, so I might as well just stick with a few basics. And when it comes to skincare, while it's tempting to try new products, I hold myself to waiting until the products I'm currently using have run out before I buy something new. The next place we avoid spending money is on decor. We've had the same color scheme in our living room for several years, and we've moved, we've had to change couches, and I've just kept the toss cushions, I've kept the pictures on the wall that match, the carpet that matches, and as long as I can, I'm going to keep that look. And one way you can save money if you do want to switch out the look is by selling the items that you do have before you replace them. If you're spending money every day or every week by going out to get coffee or tea, stop. You can save a lot of money over time by just making it yourself at home. And if you're interested in making a one-time purchase and getting a good travel mug, you can keep your drink at the temperature you like it to be for as long as you need. My next food suggestion is groceries. Of course, you have to spend money on groceries, but you can save a lot by avoiding name brands. There are some products that we particularly like the name brand for whatever reason, and in those cases, we just wait for the product to go on sale. And speaking of sales, shop the sales, especially for products that don't expire. Stock up on some of them and have them in the pantry ready to go when you need them in the future. Finally, the last food suggestion is restaurants. Avoid them where you can, and when you do have to go out, special occasion or going out with friends, do things like order water instead of a special drink. When you're with your partner, you can split a meal. We do this a lot. We'll pick sometimes a more expensive meal that is more interesting to us, and we'll just order one and split it between the two of us. There's usually plenty of food for both of us, and we end up spending a lot less than we would if we bought two cheaper meals. Oh yeah, and one other restaurant suggestion. If you're looking for a nice meal that takes a little less preparation, a little less cleanup, but you want to save money, you don't want to spend as much on a restaurant, you can do something like buy a pre-made meal that's frozen that you can heat up at home. We have a store called M&M Meat Shops near where we live. You may have something similar. Here's a really simple switch you can make. Trade these for these. You'll never spend money on dryer sheets again. Right now, we don't pay for any subscriptions for streaming or audiobooks or magazines or anything like that. A good way to avoid spending money on entertainment is to do things like play board games. You can do this as many times as you want without an extra cost. And if you're bored of the games that you have already, you can sell them secondhand or trade them for other games. Or get together with some friends, have them bring their games, bring your games, you can play each other's games. We're not spending any money on gym memberships. I think I've done this once in the past, and since then I've focused on things like bodyweight exercises and finding YouTube videos, whether that's for lifting weights or doing yoga. And I've invested in a few supplies to keep at home that I can use. Stretchy bands, weights, yoga mat, foam roller, things like that. It's a lot cheaper than a whole gym membership. There have definitely been times when we've made an exception when something on the list has seemed worth the money for a time, or when someone has given us one of the things from the list as a gift for a while. Generally, these are the things that we avoid and the things that we use and do instead. So what do you avoid spending money on? Are there things on my list that you share? And even better, what are some things that you avoid spending money on that weren't on my list? Because I would love to know if you'll share them in the comments.